So at the start of the Wargrave Challenge Cup, this is the women's 8th event. The event to the calendar events we have at Henley. On the Berkshire station, we have Marlow R.C Club, so obviously a local club just down the river from Henley. And on the Buckinghamshire station, we have London R.C Club from Putney on the Tideway.
This is an absolute joy to see these boats out here. As we've said, this is the new event for this regatta, and it's just wonderful, isn't it? It's wonderful to see more women's 8s events thundering down the course. Very, very strong start, again, for both crews, as we've said, clean. Clearly they've got a coxed boat this time, so the cox can take all the responsibility of getting the boat straight and steady coming out at the start.
So as we're approaching Fawley, there's still not much in this race. Both crews pretty much side by side. Probably Marlow have about 3/4 of a length at the moment, but they're still in contact, London, which is the important part when you're racing at Henley.
And the 8s always feels very different, as each boat has a very different feel when you're racing. But here, the sort of bow 4 of the Marlow boat will feel they've got away. They'll feel free and clear of their opposition, and that's a big difference when you're racing down this close. They've got away from London, whereas the stern 4 of the Marlow boat will still very much feel the presence of London there. And it's how it's a cox's job to make sure everyone feels united, clear in what they need to do, and clear in how they're responding to those calls.
And what's quite unique about this Marlow crew, they haven't actually raced as an 8 this year. They've raced in other boat classes throughout the domestic calendar, and this is the first time they've come together. So actually, as a unit, they probably don't know how quickly they can go, being their first race as a unit.
And this will give them a lot of confidence when you've got a good start like that and you're settling into the rhythm and gradually moving out and out on the opposition. Then actually, even as a crew not used to racing with each other, they're not going to be tested so far in this race, and they'll just build that confidence that they know exactly what they're doing. They know how to deliver a very complete race. And at this point, it's still hard work, but you're going to start to enjoy this one.
And that is the beauty as you kind of move away from the crew next to you, is that obviously you can see them, you get that sense of, it's kind of confidence boosting, isn't it? As you move up the race course, you start to move away from someone, you kind of feed off that, and sometimes you don't feel as tired as you would do, obviously, if you were sitting behind.
Oh, definitely. If you're in this Marlow crew right now, you're feeling confident, you're feeling good, you're going to just want to take every stroke, you're going to want to take a little bit more distance. And the challenge is really for the London Rowing Club crew and their cox particularly. This is where a cox can make an immense difference, because what you don't want is that London crew's heads to go down to feel that the race is already over. And they've still got a good length of the track to come. So it's how do you still motivate those women? How do you still feel they've got a lot to try and achieve in this race, and keep them getting close as they can to the Marlow crew?
And also the uniqueness of this being the first year, this will be the first time probably all of these women would have competed at any regatta as well, which is an incredible feat. And we've all had our ambitions and dreams as athletes to come here and compete, but with the new events coming into play, is allowing more people to come here.
It is. It's just it's such a special event to compete at. Mark, you and I have both been lucky enough to do it a few times here, and it is a very unique environment, and it's one you want to be shared with as many people as possible. And we really need to acknowledge, although the Marlow crew is putting down a fantastic race now, and London Rowing Club will be feeling the pain, for any of these boats to be out there who've qualified to race here, it's a big deal. It really is. Win or lose on this day, it's still an amazing achievement to be racing down this course.
And as you can see from the images there, that Marlow have clear water now from 2 lengths over London Rowing Club, as they've made their way past Remno and moving up to the mile. That's that kind of quiet part of the course, isn't it? When we talked about being in the middle of the river, you're not so close to the banks, and the cox is so important to keep that motivation in the crew, especially when you're in front and you've got that margin not to come off the gas too much.
I think we've all witnessed some very dramatic finishes where the leaders have, if you take the rating down a little bit too much, the pressure off, it can be very hard to quickly change back up again if needed, especially in a big boat. So actually what you want to do is make sure they're still racing, they still feel, but actually what you can do is let's just sharpen up the technique, let's row as well as we can. It's a little bit more comfortable, the rhythm's very strong, we've got the margin we need, but now just how well can we row to finish off this race?
And just obviously being a Marlow member, have you had any interaction with, obviously the club has evolved hugely in the last couple of years with the infrastructure they've put in place, and having these women compete at Henley Regatta.
Yeah, they've got an incredible junior program and a very, very strong Paralympic program as well. So they've really sort of spread into all different parts of rowing, and I think it's wonderful. Like you said, they're very local to this part of the river. They'll have a lot of supporters here, and there's a lot of pride coming down this course. The Henley course is infamous in the world of rowing, and if you're one of the local athletes that rows just a bit further along the Thames, you want to come here and make that impact, and they're certainly doing that today.
That's a great shot there of the Marlow boat coming towards us as they lead London Rowing Cup in this heat of the Wargrave Challenge Cup. And obviously it's about kind of maintenance now, isn't it? Not making a mistake. Don't want to think of anything negative, but it's about maintaining form, but also starting to conserve energy for those big races that may be coming tomorrow and on Saturday.
Well, this is it. I mean, the racing doesn't get easier from here on in. Every round should get a little bit harder, a little bit more challenging. But the wonderful thing is, if you're leading as they are here, you hear that crowd, you hear the applause, you hear the recognition, and you can actually enjoy it. You really can enjoy these last few strokes.
As they make their way along the enclosures, moving towards the floating grandstand. Marlow Rowing Club still maintaining their lead over London Rowing Club. As they cross the line first, ahead of London Rowing Club in the second round of the Wargrave Challenge Cup, and they will move on to compete in the Regatta on Friday tomorrow. That's London Rowing Club just crossing the line now. So a win for Marlow Rowing Club, and they'll progress on to Friday's racing.